Yes, I don't know when I have platform we as host. And I want to make Eddie as a monument so and a kind of whatever platform we as well. Now, what when as my subscribe at the for latest updates. Send it behind notification or send a newly upload behind so ever rich say was sort of for. Say the STM say Yana and summer. Attend it would say globally. My mom and some out to be about this particular platform as so far. I have see out of 4. I topic a good video so. Mahama is just a toothless dog. Sorry, I say. Now, you see some of our videos, you know, you be back home. Shaman and Kwesi away.
So, if you look at what the president did say early this year, he says, I have instructed the chief of staff to send word to all appointees to ensure that they declare their assets by the end of the first quarter of this year. That is by 31st March 2025. That is long gone, and so many of his appointees have failed or refused to comply with the directive of the president. And specifically, if you look at the data as we have been mining from this RTI request that did go to the judicial service, there are about 8 presidential staffers on that list. 8 persons who are presidential staffers, some of them very senior. Look at the name, Nathan Kofi Boakye. He's director of operations at the Jubilee House, and he was appointed on the January 15, 2025. He was with Mr. Domilovo on oral committee. Setekpa, a former finance minister, is a presidential advisor on economy. He was appointed on January 21. He has not declared. Nanaya Jantwa comes on this channel sometimes. She's a presidential staffer, also appointed in January, has not complied. Samuel Ofuswampo, the former NDC national chairman, he is a senior policy advisor at the office of the vice president. He has also not complied with this directive that the president gave on this matter. Then it goes on, there are very higher ups persons like 4 regional ministers and then 5 sector deputy ministers who haven't done so. If you look at the deputy ministers, Broja Jemfi, the deputy minister of defense, was appointed on March 12. He is well within that deadline that the president gave for this thing to be done by the end of March. He hasn't done that. Alasan Suhini, MP for Tamale North, deputy minister for roads and highways, appointed March 12. He hasn't also done this. Rita Odole Sowa, deputy local government minister, hasn't also complied. John Dumelo, MP for Ayawasu West Wogon, appointed March 12, 2025, has also not complied. And then Charity Gardner, the Half regional minister, hasn't also complied. And then there are a plethora of other state institutions, about 38 of them who are on that list who haven't done so. Right. This is what the law says, and you've heard Mr. Domilovo refer to it. It says, a person who holds a public office mentioned in the Act shall submit to the Auditor General a written declaration of all properties, assets owned by him, all liabilities owned by him, whether directly and indirectly, and it shall be the responsibility of the officers to make the declaration, and that is to obtain the requisite forms to do so. And the declaration shall be made before taking office. That is the law. And in fact, there are those who have said that even the president breached that, because when he submitted his own declaration assets to the Auditor General, he had been in office for several weeks and in close to 2 months when he did make that. And then you ought to do that again at the end of every 4 years. And that's so, Mamesi, that is what the law says. These are the persons who have breached the directive of the president and ultimately the law. And that is why.
Yes, Nancy Mahama Beka say, one may so asset no, obey you ready. Obama Kakotina fee. Nancy will be anya you. Nancy Mahama and you will be ready. Into the topic now. The good is that Mahama is just a toothless dog or a guy no because how can you woman say I'm one of the Kayo, and you'll be a fossil. Someone yes, I declare in our Sabi, will be your money and other common and so will be a still the post. That means say, some before you when someone said that idea. That means said, or more but Tayabi. With him, Nagana, I tell you, America, Ghana, I because I Ghana, could I not because so a politician for an time because me and say, me no opportunity to say, me minister, me make it sure say. Me made it feel. They won't go for a metromosono, a comedy of my son at here. Son at you, Mahama Moba, and a Kufa Mabo Minor, Yabba saying, Mahama Sobaye, Kionet president. Kionet too. Mahama never seen a promise or some amount of this adequate brute, so when you also know, not the beauty of flat, what I am so. Mahama buy what we order, any what we are getting on said you to fracture your power 90 days promises Mahama make it here say make we 90 days na me no ka say 90 days after Mahama God I'm saying now we see we are still struggling that means Mahama a deceiver Mahama a big liar Mahama say quantity and one somewhere heaven now and comedian say Mahama and I two ni free to say a throw and I friend Satan no because bon some and a dear throw and that and Yankopoma Ghana ya see akomete yehu Mahama be ye free and kwada na ne agent jima Mahama ba ya say you to flat afen podie afen na wo tu nchine promises Mahama make here Mahama major policy I friend say 24-hour economy and then Mahama I'm an idea was system nim and I want to say obimpo I got 24-hour economy wasam free SHS Mahama say a practice say what the double transit system was say after the 2027 and we became na sabe and I'm so a person oh yeah no the campaign na Ghana for say say who na about on e so 2024 now Mahama will be strong answer because Ghana for ni ate obi also about within 90 days we be try double transit system no Mahama buy and then they will say 2027 and we be try double transit system that is say Mahama we a deceiver on kind of correct we a toothless dog send your more kind of a video na for you put in any abranti on so na ka Mahama
John Dramani Mahama 4 months pen obenya ye o e-levy off betting tax off another a second nanado ene yakofa na aba no but Ghana for adwene nko tie ha we yi e-levy we yi betting tax ba hwe we yi free on ede no aye or the water bill mu and water electricity bill mu. So this should tell you say e-levy betting tax and pushed into water levy and then electricity bill. It's been pushed in there. Obi beka se meboa okay tie Mahama e ba no ma ya we so be yi exgratia fi ho or the just 3 months e dey etimi yi betting tax e-levy any VAT fi ho bet with 4 months exgratia yentin hu nsam wo ba bia demum e-levy betting tax ni sanya ma na oyi fi ho ya sanso tunsuo any petrol enti say the e-levy say the exgratia no exgratia na yi fi ho a entimi solve problems bia wo man ni ma na say den eji se sanso tunsuo ani ejima bra enim se ye ho kire yin so wo ba ye ya wo benya sika kakra na ka o so de ye wo project ana wo ye niam e di mfaso wo be ba no wo kotu assemblyman foka wo ba ye so wo be yi e-levy betting tax ni sanya mani nyina fi wo sanso betu water bill ni electricity bill mu aden oman no sabi onyansafo ani kuro ni ma na se den
yes other first warriors here na da me say cute and president no or promise we na wo mia o enye pa di agoro Ghana say be yi I just said